describe Norman Sasono in 3 words.
First one is 3 words. That sounds
Tough, ya?
who I am gitu ya. Oke,
Yes.
CTO,
Ya.
atlet, rocker.
Oke, selamat pagi, siang, sore, dan malam teman-teman semua dimanapun berada. Kembali lagi bersama saya Yopi Suryadi dari M-Target di event podcast Stories Worth Telling, Both Eyes. Oke, perkenalan dulu. Nama saya Yopi Suryadi, co-founder dan CEO dari M-Target. Apa sih M-Target itu? Kita M-Target adalah email company. So anything email, mulai dari email marketing, email transaksional, dan SMTP. Yang pasti kita sudah bersertifikasi ISO 27001, so aman. Dan yang paling penting lagi nih, yang lagi hype nih, kita sudah terdaftar PSE. Jadi tenang ya, gak usah takut diblokir. Oke. Sekarang di sini nih ada tamu agung podcast kali ini, Mas Norman Sasono. Buat saya beliau ini adalah sosok, rasanya nih kalau dilihat nih very perfect, sangat sempurna ya, udah jago tech-nya, CTO, terus sportsnya nggak main-main loh, bukan cuman olahraga pagi-pagi di hari Sabtu atau Minggu. Beliau nih atlet, jadi wah keren banget deh, rasanya nggak asik kalau saya ngenalin ya. Mas Norman, apa kabar Mas?
Hello, kabar baik. Terima kasih sudah di-invite.
Yes. Silakan boleh perkenalkan diri. Siapa itu Norman Sasono? Waduh.
Oke, thank you very much. So, ya nama saya Norman Sasono, bisa dipanggil Norman. Saat ini saya bekerja di Dana Indonesia sebagai CTO atau Chief Technology Officer-nya. Jadi saya bertanggung jawab untuk memimpin tim teknologi di Dana, untuk define strategi teknisnya, kemudian build dan run the systems untuk support Dana platform, untuk serve Dana users di seluruh Indonesia. Dan per bulan kemarin, terima kasih atas dukungannya, kita sudah pas 120 juta users.
Oh, awesome. Hebat.
Terima kasih.
Nggak kebayang 120 juta users itu pasti berat banget. Keren banget.
With big power comes great responsibility. I always tell my team every day bahwa every single line of code yang kita tulis, anything yang we run itu bisa either make 120 juta orang happy atau make 120 juta orang tidak happy. So it's a big responsibility.
Yes. Ini menarik nih. Selain sekarang Dana udah 120 juta users ya. Yang pasti itu benar very big responsibilities. Nah, ini kalau mengacu sama tulisan Mas Norman nih, smart is not enough. Waduh, belibet. Apakah dalam menghandle 120 juta users ini faktor terbesar itu smart atau hard work atau hard skill atau harus programmer dari Silicon Valley atau apapun itu, atau X itulah gitu ya, unicorn gitu. Gimana menurut Mas Norman?
Iya, terima kasih. Jadi saya pernah nulis itu di LinkedIn ya, di platform LinkedIn tentang suatu artikel judulnya Smart is not enough. So saya nulis artikel itu berdasarkan experience yang saya lihat selama lebih dari 2 dekade di industri gitu. Jadi dari pengalaman saya sendiri berinteraksi dengan orang lain, saya akhirnya mengambil kesimpulan bahwa smart is not enough gitu. Jadi dulu saya pikir smart itu adalah segala-galanya. Jadi kalau kita pintar, we can do anything, we can get anything, we can beat everyone gitu ya. Dengan berjalannya waktu dan learning, doing a lot of things, saya mulai sadar bahwa smart alone is not enough gitu. Jadi there are other qualities yang actually lebih jadi deciding factor whether we're going to make it or not make it outside being smart gitu. Dan apalagi di sekarang di saat smart itu udah jadi komoditi gitu. Jadi everyone is now smart gitu. Everyone has graduated from good universities, everyone can access internet. Jadi smart itu udah jadi level of playing field. Jadi it's not something yang rare, something yang susah dicari. Ya, smart is commodity. You can always get smart guys gitu. Nah, akhirnya ada beberapa hal yang saya notice bahwa hal-hal penting yang lain. Jadi bukan berarti smart nggak penting ya. Smart is needed. Smart is mandatory. It's a level playing field. It's what you need to pass the bar. But after you pass the bar, you need other qualities. Jadi yang pertama yang saya highlight adalah hard work. Gitu.
Hard work.
Sounds boring. Some may find that intimidating. Some may hate it karena it's part of, let's say, hustle culture yang toxic and so forth. But it is true gitu ya. Jadi people kan selalu bilang we should work smart, not work hard gitu ya. I'm fully agree gitu. Saya setuju banget dengan pendapat ini karena kalau kita work smart, we can be very efficient gitu. Jadi we don't have a lot of waste. Energi yang di-spend, effort yang di-spend itu bisa maximize jadi output. Problemnya adalah in the market yang saya bilang tadi, everyone is smart. Kalau everyone is equally smart, how you're going to be singled out from the crowd? How you can win in the competition, gitu ya? How you can really shine and be the best, gitu. Nah, the only way to make the difference adalah saat everyone is equally smart adalah those yang who are willing to put in the work, who will work more, who will work harder, gitu. These guys are the guys that will win gitu. Nah, problemnya adalah not many realize that gitu. Jadi many masih think yang penting gue smart gitu. Nah, padahal everyone saat smartnya sama. Ada yang work hard, the guys yang smart and work hard will build the guy yang just work smart anytime gitu. Nah, sometimes people bukan cuma nggak realize gitu. They realize, they understand bahwa I need to work smart, I also need to work hard. The problem is they are just simply too lazy to putting in the work. Yeah, it's simple. It's laziness, gitu.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And excuses. So, yeah, with laziness and excuses, ya udah, you will not really work hard. So for me, yeah, and maybe for some of you guys out there, it is an opportunity. Banyak orang nggak sadar bahwa work hard is important. Banyak orang sadar work hard is important, tapi they are just too lazy. So it is an opportunity for you to really shine, to be singled out of the crowd, to really beat the competition. That if you are smart, you putting in the work, you work hard, you will beat everybody.
Yes.
That is the first one. Yeah.
Good.
Ada a couple more. So
yeah.
The second one is sometimes we work smart, we work hard, gitu ya. But sometimes we don't feel like it gitu, atau kita ngerasa capek, atau we don't feel motivated gitu. Nah, the second part yang I put in that article adalah bahwa motivation itu wear out. Gitu. Some days you are motivated, some days you are not. Some days misalnya habis nonton TED Talk, habis nonton motivational videos, read motivational books, you will be charged up and be very super motivated. And then after a week, after 2 weeks, that motivation itu just gone. You don't feel it anymore. Gitu. Nah, artinya I found out bahwa to have motivation is good, but to rely on motivation is not a good strategy, gitu ya. Jadi motivation is good to get us to start. However, to keep us going, motivation is just not enough because it wears out. So what is it that will help us to keep going? From my learning, it is one thing that we call discipline.
Discipline.
If we are disciplined, yeah, if we have a goal that we want to achieve and we know exactly the action that we need to do, when we need to do the action, So if we can really be in control of ourselves, be in command, be in the steering wheel, be the pilot of our own life, we are the one who decide whether I want to do this or I don't want to do this, I want to do other things. Now, that kind of self-control and discipline, so that yourself itu obedient to yourself, gitu ya. Jadi you are in control, is the one that will make you going. Jadi sometimes kalau kita waking up, terus I don't feel like it, I don't feel like working out, I don't feel like I'm going to finish this project. Yeah. That if you just rely on motivation and feel good about that. Sometimes when you even don't have the motivation, sometimes even when you don't feel good, but if you have the discipline, you just know it's just something that you need to do, and I'm in charge of my life, and I decide I have to do this. You will just do it, and you keep on moving, and then all of a sudden your goals is achieved. So that's the second. Now, the last part, it's resilience. Jadi sometimes you work smart and you work hard, and then you don't rely on motivation, you rely on discipline. Tapi sometimes life just punch you in the face or kick you in the teeth, gitu ya. The reality in life itu seperti itu. Mike Tyson pernah ngomong, everyone has a plan until they got punched in the face. So, yeah, in life we will get punched in the face. At work we will get punched in the face. We will be down, we will be knocked out, we will be knocked down. Gitu. Jadi the idea is not to tough it up all the time, but more on, it's okay, you may take a punch, you may fall down, you may get knocked out, you may get knocked down, tapi how you can get back up again, dust off, and go back, engage, and go back on the attack. Nah, jadi that is resilience. Resilience is not about tough it out and you never go down. It's more on, sometimes you go down because it's just a very big storm that hits you, you go down, but how you get back up again and face that adversity, face that challenge. Now, that drive to go back up again is the thing yang will really make the difference. Jadi I usually tell my team, there are things yang within your control and there are things yang outside of your control. So no matter what, you can just change these things, gitu. It's outside of your control. And there are things yang fully in your control, yang you can make a decision and you can do action and change that. Jadi the metaphor yang I use adalah you cannot calm down the storm. Ya? Jadi you cannot tell the storm, hey storm, calm down. The storm will just hit you, gitu kan? He doesn't care, it doesn't care, gitu. Nah, tapi what you can have and you can control is yourself. So you can calm yourself down in the storm. Jadi you're not hysterical and you're not paralyzed. You can stay calm, stay composed, and you can make a sane decision and can execute the same actions. Jadi you cannot calm down the storm, but you can calm yourself down in the storm. So these are the three things yang I see. Jadi kayak traits dari those yang really making it, gitu ya, di-compare dengan those yang just relying on being smart. So smart is just what you need to pass the bar, but to really play in the game, because smart is a level of playing field, you need to do a hard work, you need to rely on discipline, and you need to really work on and train your resilience. So these are the three things or the three traits and qualities that I look for juga when I hire people, gitu ya. Karena smart is commodity, tapi smart, but with all these three traits,
superpower.
These guys are the winner. So that is what is smart is not enough article.
Wow, that's awesome. Jadi memang I'm relate banget ya. Jadi waktu back when I was a kid, gitu, semua hasil tes IQ, just like you wrote that. For me is state that I am genius. And my mother like wah Yopi ini genius nih, tapi dia malas. Wah, yang ketanam di kepala malesnya. So tadi males tuh nge-relate banget gitu. Ternyata smart itu cuma satu elemen. Dia akan jadi nothing ya. Kalau nggak ada yang dikerjainnya, nggak, malesnya lebih kenceng dari pinternya. Dia akan pinter nyari alasan untuk tetap males gitu. Jadi I like wasting my youth ya dulu ya. Jadi Nah, podcast ini tuh melulu tentang proses. Jadi mungkin kita kayaknya seumur nih. Kita seumur, jadi teman-teman nih yang masih muda nih, yang lagi quarter life crisis ya, gitu ya, mau percayalah apa yang kita bicarakan di podcast ini tuh benar adanya. Nanti kalian don't worry, life will teach you gitu at the end of the day. Jadi nah kan banyak ya. Jadi misalnya nih Mas Norman ngerasa oh iya genius, terus kayak kalau lihat yang diambil kuliahnya, pelajarannya segala macam dan ada satu titik yang saya menarik tuh, the day you realize that smart is not enough, the day you realize that oh kalau gue smart doang kurang nih gitu. Ada satu momennya itu gak yang bikin oh ternyata memang perlu hard work, ternyata perlu resilience dan lain sebagainya.
Oke.
Specific kejadian gitu ya.
Yeah. I think mungkin bukan one specific single moment yang jadi kayak the turnaround gitu ya. Tapi mungkin there are smaller moments gitu ya. Yang when I look back then I realize oh yeah actually that is it gitu kayak tadi like you said gitu kan dari zaman sekolah gitu. Misalnya ada tes IQ. My result always shows I'm in the genius category.
Yes.
Gitu. Jadi like 150 plus and so forth gitu ya. So it's up there. Terus ya pada zamannya juga kan kayak getting that result in school terus I was kind of like I'm so cool, I'm so smart gitu. Terus kayak I'm smarter than you, so kayak sometimes jadi jumawa gitu ya. But that was part of the learning gitu. And then I realized gini, jadi because of that, jadi I don't really think I really need to learn and study, do the homework well gitu ya. Terus kalau ulangannya sometimes belajar, sometimes I don't really care because I can always beat the test gitu ya. Dan especially kayak misalnya mata pelajaran kayak matematika, fisika, I really also like that and enjoy that. But then I begin to realize bahwa I'm not kayak misalnya bukan juara umum di sekolah. My grades are not always the perfect ones atau the highest gitu. Jadi if the test or the grades are one of the measurement gitu ya, I'm actually failing gitu. There are others yang IQ-nya less tapi they make it better than me gitu kan. So that's where I start to realize bahwa kayaknya IQ doang nih nggak cukup nih gitu ya. Terus apalagi begitu masuk bangku kuliah gitu, wah makin terasa gitu. Jadi tugas banyak gitu kan, terus ngerjain tugas lab, tugas akhir. Then I begin to realize bahwa waktu itu pas tugas akhir gitu. Jadi teman-teman seangkatan sudah pada lulus, TA-nya udah selesai, skripsinya udah selesai, and I'm still working on my tugas akhir and my skripsi gitu. Jadi kayak ini apa sih masalahnya? I think it's a combination of a lot of things gitu ya. Males, terus think bahwa it will be easy, terus a lot of things. Akhirnya I realize bahwa smart alone is not enough. Jadi waktu dulu kuliah saya nggak lulus on time gitu. Everyone waktu itu di jurusan saya targetnya 9 semester, saya mungkin 10 semester dan 11 semester gitu baru selesai gitu. Karena I don't know what's going on gitu. Saya 2 semester terakhir udah nggak ada mata kuliah, nggak ada skripsi doang dan tetap nggak selesai gitu. Dan I think it gets a lot of relation to yang saya said tadi. Maybe I did not put hard work. Maybe I don't have the discipline. Jadi just kalau lagi motivated, I finish it. If I don't, then I just don't gitu ya. So being lazy gitu. Nah, that I also start to realize bahwa smart is not guaranteeing anything karena teman-teman yang I thought gitu less smart, mereka pada lulus duluan gitu. Artinya kan the result is better than me gitu. And then you enter to work, the world of work. Then I begin to realize bahwa orang pintar tuh ternyata banyak gitu ya. Terus apalagi when I work for Microsoft, that is a very humbling experience gitu. Jadi in the past I thought, I'm so smart, and then I went to Microsoft. All of a sudden, I'm no longer the smartest guy in the room gitu.
Everybody's smart.
Everyone ini smart nih. Terus kalau it's just relying being smart, I can never be shining gitu. I can never
Oh,
beat
wow.
these guys gitu. So what I really need to do, putting in the hard work, look for dimensions lain yang I can really work on, gitu ya, so that I can shine gitu. So I think that series of kebentur tembok dan face reality bahwa smart is not enough, yang akhirnya really make me realize bahwa confirm smart is not enough. There are other things I need to work on, and then since then I try to be more disciplined. I try to putting in the hard work. I try to be more resilient. Yang bukan berarti even today I'm perfect at this. I'm still working on it. There are days when I still challenge gitu, but I have the realization of this thing, so I try to really push myself to be disciplined, to do hard work, and to be resilient. So it's a lifelong learning. Jadi I'm still learning. I'm not perfect, but then at least I have that realization, and I think go back to Tyson. I think I got punched in the face several times di sekolah, di kuliah, dan di kerjaan gitu. Jadi I need to change. Smart is not enough.
Nice. Ini buat teman-teman yang lagi dengar disiplin apa sih Mas Norman ngomong disiplin terus, kalau pinter aja nggak cukup, harus disiplin. Disiplin itu seperti kita tahu kalau kita perlu makan, kita nggak perlu disuruh. Waktu kita lapar kita makan. Bedanya adalah waktu kita mau misalnya kayak workout, itu harus dipaksa. Atau misalnya kita harus bekerja dengan baik, itu harus dipaksa. Jadi harusnya disiplin itu seperti kita tahu bahwa kita perlu makan. Jadi udah sangat begitu aja ya. Even it's rainy day atau you feel like you don't want to do anything in the morning, jalan aja, just do. That's resilience juga itu termasuk di dalamnya tuh. Gitu.
Jadi the ultimate realization adalah you need to realize and understand bahwa you are in charge of your life, you are in control of your life, gitu ya. Your body, your mind, your mental itu should be obedient to you, gitu. You are in charge. Gitu. Jadi simple thing kayak misalnya pagi-pagi gitu ya, jam 4.30 atau jam 5, whatever, kita pasang alarm di kita punya jam atau di kita punya phone, terus alarmnya bunyi pagi-pagi. And then we have options, gitu kan. Saya bisa matiin alarmnya, terus saya bangun, shower and do things, atau saya bisa snooze alarmnya and continuously berbit, atau saya bisa matiin alarmnya and I just don't care, I just wake up later aja pun, I just sleep. So you have your options and you should be the one in charge and make the decisions. Nah, disiplin itu it's about making decision that is right for you, yang will help you move closer towards your goal. Jadi you don't feel like it, you feel like it, you are motivated or you don't motivated, but you know exactly bahwa you have to wake up, then you need to tell your body to wake up gitu. Nah, if you cannot, meaning you are not in charge of your life gitu ya, but laziness yang drive you, it's the other way around. You're being pushed around by all this laziness, unmotivated dan seterusnya gitu. Jadi you're not in charge.
Yes,
so you
the snooze culture. Snooze culture itu berbahaya tuh. Menarik banget nih. Jadi tadi ya kayak misalnya ini kayaknya filosofinya nih. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mas Norman ini stoik banget nih. Wah. Kita itu nggak bisa kontrol apa yang terjadi sama kita, tapi kita bisa kontrol our response, gitu kan. Ke hal-hal itu gitu loh. Mau response apa? No response is also a response. Jadi itu banget kalau kayaknya buat yang kita umur udah kepala 4 gitu ya. Our brain is like browser. Kita perlu close few tabs supaya nggak ngehang ya. Misalnya browser Google Chrome kalau tabsnya ada ratusan itu juga hang juga gitu. Jadi ya hal-hal seperti itu sih. Teman-teman nih di sini banyak nih. Jadi teman-teman di M-Target juga masih generasi 20-an ya. Jadi mereka lagi emas-emasnya gitu loh. Even kalau Gary Vee bilang, ya lu masih bisa goler-goleran, tidur nggak ngapa, doing nothing. selama 10 tahun and still young gitu. Jadi sekarang tuh ya yang dengerin ini pasti akan sangat termotivasi. Nah, ngomong-ngomong soal motivasi, so tadi kayak Mas Norman bilang ya, rely on motivational quotes or videos or something itu it's just like nggak long lasting. But actually yang saya mau tanya nih, what motivates you now to do all the things?
Yeah. I think what keeps me running, jadi what keeps my motor running every day, what wakes me up every day is I have a purpose, gitu. Jadi ada yang lain with Dana where I work now, and I have my own personal purpose. Jadi I'm more into I want to create values, and then I want to inspire others to do the same. Gitu. So that's what motivates me. Jadi what values can I create? What values can I add? Gitu ya. What I can improve. Gitu ya. So it's about creating values. It's either for Dana, it's either for anything that I'm working on, or it's either for me. Gitu. Jadi at the very personal level adalah it's about how can I be the best possible version of myself. Gitu. Jadi how can I always improve? Gitu. Jadi me today should be better than me 6 months ago. Jadi me next year should be better than me today. So what are the things yang I need to do to make me a better version of me? Gitu. So that start from myself, and then itu ngeluas lagi ke my technology team di Dana. How we can be a better version of technology team di Dana. Luas lagi, how can I make a better system, better app for Dana gitu ya. Dan kita itu selalu kan, apalagi kita yang bikin systems ya, we ship versi 2, we ship versi 3, 3.1, versi 4 dan seterusnya. Artinya sistem kita atau app yang kita bikin itu kita refine, kita fix bugs-nya, kita add new features. You do that to the system that you build, but do you do that to yourself? Gitu.
Good question.
Ya, version 2022.9.12 hari ini misalnya, dan point 13 besok, ya 2022.10 misalnya Oktober next month, atau 2023, is it the better version of you gitu. So you need to see it that way gitu ya. Jadi jangan cuma bikin sistem atau app yang makin naik versinya makin bagus, but do you that to yourself gitu. Then if you do that to yourself, you can be the best possible version of yourself. You can really create value, dan harapannya sesudah itu I can inspire people to do the same. Jadi I'm grateful. I thank you very much to invite me for this podcast gitu ya. Karena it's a platform where I can also share my motivation, and one of the motivation is to inspire others to do the same. Karena my rationale is if a lot of people are inspired, they are motivated to be a better version of themselves, to make their company a better version. Nah, saat everything gets better ya, at individual cell level, overall kita as a society, as a country, as a humanity itu kita will be better as a whole gitu. So
everything falls into places ya. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Me also thank you ya. Jadi kita punya vision, my personal vision also, and company vision is to help others grow bigger. Jadi with my wasted youth time, so I don't want like people in their 20s gue nggak tahu mau jadi apa segala macam. Hey, actually you can do one thing. Bukan jadi milioner juga ya, tapi maksudnya you can do small thing but with discipline. Terus itu semua pepatah yang dulu kita pelajarin itu ternyata sekarang itu jadi kenyataan. Contoh, sedikit-sedikit lama-lama menjadi bukit. Ternyata bener banget kalau lo tanemin disiplin kecil-kecil dari sekarang, ujungnya itu kelihatan banget gitu. Jadi show me what you did every day. I will show you your future. Jadi tuh hal-hal seperti itu tuh kelihatan banget. So me thank you. Benar-benar ini gokil nih, asik banget nih. Nah, kalau yang tadi
I like your point tadi when you mention sedikit-sedikit menjadi bukit ya. We're putting in small work each and every day, lama-lama dia naik. So I think people need to realize that gitu ya, bahwa your perfect body, your health and strong and maybe six pack doesn't happen by accident. Gitu.
Yes, that's true.
You need to put in the work, you need to work hard, you need to train, you need to eat well, gitu. Termasuk juga at work gitu. Jadi all of a sudden you think you will get the promotion atau all of a sudden you will get, if you are an entrepreneur, you will get the funding when you do pitch accidentally gitu. Enggak gitu ya. You need to put in the work sedikit demi sedikit and you build, and then when it come, it will just come gitu. Jadi don't think you don't need to put in the work and then hope one day with a miracle all of a sudden then you will get what you want gitu ya. So no, it does not work that way. You need to put it in the work sedikit-sedikit every day, tapi the accumulation, that what makes the difference gitu.
Yeah, just like you wrote, you need to earn it. Ya, itu nggak jatuh dari langit. You need to earn it by discipline dan ngelakuin semuanya gitu ya. Nah, ini menarik nih Mas Norman. Pertanyaan berikutnya nih, kalau gitu apakah semua yang sudah dipelajari ini sangat jadi base culture di tech under your leadership sekarang? Jadi mulai nggak melulu pekerjaan ya. I was in one of your sessions few years ago gitu. Jadi waktu itu berbicara technical, cara kerja dan lain sebagainya. Tapi ini kayaknya udah mulai lebih ke arah self development juga. Your team need to develop themselves gitu untuk jadi orang yang lebih baik lagi dengan cara itu. Kalau smart aja lu nggak cukup gitu. You need to work hard dan lain sebagainya. Is it the basic culture di Dana sekarang saat ini under your leadership?
Yes. So gini, what we want to achieve itu kan basically business results ya. The top line metrics lah, our North Star. Jadi we can acquire user, we can retain users, and then we can do monetization. So those are the business results that we want to achieve. To achieve that, we need to deliver the best customer experience when they're using our app or our platform. And then the best experience in our app and our platform can only happen if we uphold 3 pillars. Jadi ada yang namanya release agility, how fast we ship new capabilities, how fast we fix the bugs and so forth. Yeah? And then ada yang namanya quality of service. This is the availability of the system, the reliability, the performance, the scalability, the security, and all this quality. And then yang terakhir adalah pilar scalable innovation. We ship new capabilities or capabilities lama tapi dibikin 10x better. So if these 3 pillars berdiri dengan tegak, gitu ya, dengan baik, we can really deliver that best customer experience and then we can achieve that business results. However, these pillars, dia itu ada on top of a foundation, and that foundation is people and team. So that is the framework that I define for Dana Tech. Gitu. Nah, if the people and team are weak and jelly, the pillars will be jelly.
Okay, got it. Yes, so true.
So that the pillar benar-benar bisa stand strong and bisa achieve the business result. Ya, foundationnya harus strong. So the people and team needs to be strong. So we really emphasize this, and I think mungkin 40-50% of my time and effort is around this aspect gitu. Jadi people and team. Dan if you look at systems as something yang bigger in general, ya people is part of the system gitu ya. People is also a variable yang defining the whole system. Dan technical system sometimes is easier to be controlled, gitu kan, to be defined karena it's technical. Nah, human it's a bit tricky gitu. Nah, so from that, I really emphasize to my team the importance of kayak smart is not enough, the importance of culture. Kita punya 7 values di Dana gitu ya. Jadi how we start with integrity, kemudian how we have to be humble, And then resilience yang tadi I mentioned, it is part of the values yang we define. And then of course how we should be result driven, how we should be really focused on customers gitu ya. And then how we need to embrace change. So those are the values, and ya culture itu bukan something yang kita define and then all of a sudden it happens gitu ya. Jadi in any occasion, in any touch point I can have with my team, either face to face, one to one, one to few, one to many, written, verbal, town hall meetings, is an opportunity for me to distill culture for everyone in the team gitu. Jadi supaya culture itu contagious gitu. Dan as a leader, we really need to use those opportunities. Karena kalau enggak, how we can distill culture to the team gitu. And then culture also means it started from we hire the right people, we enable them, we provide training, we do performance evaluation yang well, we give rewards, we promote those yang really performing well. Even we fire those yang just don't belong to the team. So that's the whole thing. So balik lagi ke that framework and pillars yang I mentioned. People and team are the foundation. If it's weak, the pillar will be jelly. So if it's strong, the pillar will be strong. If the pillar is strong, business result is just a logical consequences. Gitu.
Wow, awesome. Jadi memang benar ya. Saya sampai nggak bisa ngomong apa-apa. Maksudnya kayak a lot of our time, especially gitu, kita habiskan tuh banyak untuk people ya, banyak. Mungkin sometimes terlihat seperti annoying cheerleaders, but most of them itu supaya mereka keras, kuat gitu, tough gitu. Jadi kayak batu gitu, batu karang. Jadi kalau didirikan di atas batu karang tuh keren. So I think Dana itu mungkin buat timnya atau ex-nya segala macam, the place they want to be from. Keren banget gitu loh. Jadi lagi dibangun tuh culture mungkin kayak Microsoft atau IBM atau apa ya, mereka bahkan punya alumni apa segala macam. Keren banget. Nah, berbicara soal customer experience, ini dulu saya pernah baca satu nih yang soal your startup yang dibangun dulu ya gitu ya. It's a loyalty program software, right? Gitu ya. Pernah di-mention di situ. Produknya keren, but the flow is broken. Gitu. Ini boleh dielaborate gak? Yang dulu tuh flow broken seperti apa sih?
Ya, jadi gini. We build loyalty platform. Jadi basically itu kalau kita pakai service atau produk dari suatu merchant gitu ya, misalnya yang makan di restoran, atau ke tukang cukur, atau ke salon, anything, kita biasanya dikasih loyalty program, gitu kan? Every single visit mungkin dapat stamps,
yes.
Atau points, terus nanti misalnya udah dapat 10 stamp atau certain points, itu bisa di redeem jadi another product atau service for free atau with a big discount and so forth. So we make a digital version of that, and we got some traction gitu. Jadi belasan ribu, mungkin 20,000 users, so not bad gitu as a platform. Yeah, that's a lot of people gitu. Terus ada puluhan merchants yang using us. And then there is another company yang doing pretty much similar, point based gitu. Cuman they evolve and transform and make themselves a payment company juga, gitu. Okay, so they make it seamless. Jadi when people pay with that app or that platform, paymentnya done, and at the same time points-nya juga added. So it's a one go, very seamless. And in our startup, in our case, they do payments separately with their POS app, and then when they want to get points or jobs atau anything yang meskipun digital, they need to do into a separate app. Jadi broken gitu kan. Jadi for user, I have to do payment, and then I need to ask them to scan or whatever so that my points is increase atau my job ditambahin. Terus di sisi kasir sendiri ya, they have to do payment. Terus they have to deal with app that we build untuk for that loyalty program. Jadi ada dua. Jadi separate and broken, and sometimes ya udahlah poinnya nggak usah. Gitu. Nah, akhirnya traction-nya kan nggak really take off. Sementara yang sebelah sana, they just doing payment and the points juga langsung added. So it's more seamless. Jadi our user experience is broken. So ya, we just can't compete karena to become a payment company, it's not easy gitu kan, for license, terus a lot of things to be built. It's more sophisticated than just build a point system, reward system. So yeah, this startup died, it didn't take off. Gitu. And then this points and payment company, they just got big and yeah, they got so big. Gitu. But now, I'm in Dana, that is also a payment company. I have if it's a romantic story-nya adalah I get a chance to be head to head and beat these guys.
Wow. What a comeback. Wow. Jadi memang saya percaya satu hal ya. As a founders, as a builders, apapun yang kita pernah bangun itu sebetulnya nggak pernah mati. It's just evolve in a different way. Mungkin sekarang di Dana ya waktu ngebangun based on past experiences, soal loyalty segala macam, ya akhirannya hal-hal itu kepake. It's never a loss. It's always a learning. Jadi itu keren banget dan sekarang beat up those guys gitu ya. Wah, keren banget. Ini sesuatu yang harus buat teman-teman yang lagi dengerin itu, oke, gue mau kayak gini gitu dong ya. Gitu, jangan yang lain-lain. Gue mau kayak begini jadi orang karena it's very complete gitu. Terus ini kayaknya kita bisa panjang banget, but I need to close this. Jadi ada pertanyaan ciri khas dari stories worth telling, guys. This is a truly stories worth telling. Jadi I need to ask you a question. Describe Norman Sasono in 3 words.
Itu nouns atau adjective?
Bebas in 3 words.
Okay. First one is 3 words. That sounds tough, up who I am gitu ya. Okay. CTO.
Yeah.
Atlet. Rocker.
Oh wow, rocker. Bermusik juga, Mas?
Yeah. I have a band.
Oh,
we
nice.
trained. We played, but only in studios. We don't do gigs professionally. But maybe one thing that I can share is that my first paycheck is not from writing computer software, but yeah, I think during my days waktu kuliah juga itu, jadi yang I said kenapa nggak lulus, one of the reason is I have a band and we play in gigs in kampus-kampus dan di kafe-kafe dan di resto around the city tempat saya kuliah dulu gitu. So ya, jadi my professional experience, my first paycheck is not from writing software, but from playing in a band.
Oh wow!
That is still part of me. Yeah. Oh yeah, what's yours?
My first paycheck from ngeband itu dibayar dengan teh botol. Bukan iklan tapi.
Oh, you play in a band juga?
Iya, ngamen di kampus, dibayar pakai thank you dan teh botol gitu dulu. Tapi ya, those days were fun. Gitu.
Yeah, still part of me. I mean, I don't do that professionally. I just, it's still part of me.
Oke, sekarang kalau ini kan dalam bentuk you as who ya gitu. Kalau dalam bentuk your personality, 3 words?
Driven.
Ya.
Apa lagi ya? Driven. Resilient.
Resilient.
And then discipline. Sounds boring ya.
Ya, buat anak-anak muda mungkin kedengarannya boring ya, but this is the survival kit actually. Survival kit in the future. Jadi kalau nggak ada tiga ini, nggak driven, nggak resilient, nggak disiplin. Kalau driven ya gimana ya, kita tau naik taksi gitu. Mau kemana mas? Jalan aja deh pak, terserah aja deh, bebas kemana. Bawa aku bang gitu kemana-mana. Ya, nggak juga kan, hidup nggak kayak gitu tuh. Gitu. Jadi benar resilient. Ini awesome banget. Terus sama disiplin. I've been struggling with discipline gitu. Jadi memang selama pandemi ini mau coba olahraga ya. I dream of six pack, but I don't work on it. jadi itu tadi tuh kena banget tuh semua tuh yang diomongin tuh. Ya, mau six pack ya sedikit-sedikit jadi bukit. Mau sit up sehari 10 juga nggak apa-apa. Yang penting dilakuin gitu loh. Jangan berpikir mau sit up 10 kali per hari gitu, tapi nggak dilakuin. So it's very good. Saya rasa ini menyenangkan banget gitu ya. Nanti kapan-kapan kita ngobrol lagi Mas Norman, or saya main ke kantornya Dana gitu, pengen lihat. Oh, sebetulnya ada dua lagi nih, ada dua pertanyaan kalau boleh ya. Yang pertama adalah what makes a man a CTO?
Okay. Yeah, of course, Chief Technology Officer. So the passing barnya adalah technology. You need to be good in technology. You need to really understand technology. So that's the bread and butter, gitu ya. And then on the other side of things is you really need to have a certain soft skill that is necessary, gitu ya. Jadi you need to have a good communication, presentation skills, leadership and management, and also business acumen. One will realize, especially with the company yang size-nya bigger, serving a significant amount of users, interact with the board, interact with the other C-level, one will realize bahwa CTO itu is not necessarily a technical role atau technical position. It's a business role, it's a business position. You are a business leader in the field of technology. Gitu. Jadi it's all about the business. Nah, sometimes mungkin people will be kayak what gitu ya. But when you really menjalani ini, you will realize gitu ya. And then that understanding and that transitions yang will really make the difference gitu. Whether you are just a glorified dev lead or you are really a business leader in charge of technology.
Wow, that's good. Banyak yang berpikir CTO itu geek. No, CTO is not a geek gitu. Jadi CTO itu CEO dalam fieldnya teknologi sebetulnya gitu. Mirip-mirip gitu. Hubungannya juga dengan orang banyak, dengan bisnis, tapi from the technological side. Itu jadi biar nggak salah nih, kan banyak nih teman-teman startup founder yang baru bikin startup misalnya gitu ya. Bikinnya berlima gitu misalnya. Tahu-tahu belum ada timnya, cuman udah ada CEO, CTO, COO, CFO, CMO gitu. Jadi belum ada anak buah. Maaf, saya nggak bermaksud sarkas, but that's true gitu. Jadi buat teman-teman tuh, you need to know what's the meaning of the word chief itu actually gitu. Jadi, nah tadi Mas Norman tuh dijelasin banget CTO from CTO standpoint. Sebetulnya nggak melulu soal, walaupun harus bisa menguasai ya, tahu teknologi terbaru, bagaimana untuk lebih efektif, efisien, tapi more to how to achieve the business with the support
exactly.
technology.
Jadi how you use technology to achieve business results, gitu ya, within the constraints of cost efficiency.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, that's cool. Oke, pertanyaan penutup. Untuk teman-teman para startup founders yang baru mulai, yang sedang dalam perjalanan, I know jalan terlihat seperti gelap. Mungkin kalau lihat media-media lainnya tuh adalah ya yang baru berdiri, tahu-tahu udah fundingnya sekian million dollar dan lain sebagainya. But be resilient gitu. Nah, saya mau minta quotes-nya dari Mas Norman untuk para startup founders, either CEO, CTO, or COO atau siapapun itu yang lagi fighting their goals sekarang gitu loh. Silakan Mas.
So my advice would be customers first. Ya, jadi focus, put effort, energy, investment to solve the problems of your customers. Give the best to your customers. Serve your customers the best. So,
wow.
if you can really remove the pain of your customers, they will use your solution and they will pay you money to use your solutions. Gitu. Jadi that's how you beat the competition. Jadi bukan copy solution sana, solution sini. And then if you really do the best for your customer really use you, traction will manage itself. If you have a good business model, monetization will manage itself. And you have traction, you have monetization, yeah, it will be easier to pitch to investors if you want to get investment from outside. So really it's about solving your customers' problems and give the best to them. So in one short sentence, customers first.
Yes. Wow. Ini top banget. Customer centricity, that's true gitu. Ini yang dilakukan banyak apps dunia ya gitu ya. Semua fokus ke customer sampai bahkan kalian tidak akan percaya lah mereka ngelakuin apa aja hanya untuk tahu usersnya, customersnya itu seperti apa behaviornya itu demi untuk produk yang bagus. So ingat, solve the problem first and everything will fall into places. Oke. Thank you banget Mas Norman. Waduh, kita kalau ngobrol lanjutin nih kita bisa sampai besok nih. Ini kacau nih, banyak banget. So, we have a lot in common in vision, in opinion ya terutama ya. So it's menyenangkan sekali ngobrol dengan Mas Norman. Before that kita nanti kita foto bareng, tapi saya mau close dulu ya sekalian ya. Oke, teman-teman semuanya, kalau sudah mendengarkan Mas Norman, apa yang beliau sampaikan itu kedengeran kayak mungkin, oh apa sih kayak orang tua mungkin ya. No, tapi semuanya itu benar. Dan his vision is untuk menularkan semangat untuk develop diri sendiri yang lebih baik. And our vision is to help others grow bigger. So ternyata hidup itu akan nonjok kita dari kiri, dari kanan, dari atas, dari bawah. Beware, smart is not enough.